held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. This torch is heavy, but I travel light. It's lonely on the top shelf, 'cause I've been there myself. Oh, I've been there, deep in my cups, high in the sky, when I just wanted something of my own. Just wanted something of my own. Looking for someone of my own. My own. Close the window and your eyes disappear into the blue. Wrap your fingers around the great escape, drinking moonshine on the moon. It's got you feeling like a queen, but you're not quite. Looking down on those traveling lights, I'd best be on my way. I'd best be on my way. Sidewalk, I go clear-eyed and calm. Don't want the fruit from that still light. It's held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. This torch is heavy, but I travel light. Just wanted something of my own. Looking for someone of my own, my own. Floating down that moving sidewalk, I go clear-eyed and calm. Don't want the fruit from that still life. It's held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. This torch is heavy, but I travel light. It's lonely on the top shelf, 'cause I've been there myself. Oh, I've been there, deep in my cups, high in the sky, when I just wanted something of my own. Just wanted something of my own. Looking for someone of my own, my own. Close the window and your eyes disappear into the blue. Wrap your fingers around the great escape, drinking moonshine on the moon. It's got you feeling like a queen, but you're not quite. Looking down on those traveling lights, I'd best be on my way. I'd best be on my way. from that still light. It's held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. This torch is heavy, but I travel light. Oh, I've been there, deep in my cups, high in the sky, when I just wanted something of my own. Just wanted something of my own. Looking for someone of my own, my own. Floating down that moving sidewalk, I go clear-eyed and calm. Don't want the fruit from that still light. It's held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. This torch is heavy, but I travel light. It's lonely on the top shelf, 'cause I've been there myself. Oh, I've been there, deep in my cups, high in the sky, when I just wanted something of my own. Just wanted something of my own. looking for someone of my own. My own.
Good morning, Acadiana, and thank you for tuning in to Local News Live, a production of AOC Community Media in partnership with the Acadiana Advocate and the larger Advocate Journalism institution or newspaper in our local area covering local state news. We're glad to bring you this community service every Monday through Friday between 9 and 10, and sometimes a little after 10 if there's a little more news. And we could not bring this news to you without the generous support and dedicated service of our volunteers like Mr. Bruce Cohen, who is here with us this morning. Good morning, Bruce.
Well, very good morning to you, Matt. And as always, thank you for engineering this virtual aspect of reading the news. I appreciate it very much.
Glad to do it. And thank you again for reading. I'm going to listen on Cypress Street Radio.
Okay, thank you so much. And folks, we do air these news readings every Monday through Friday from 9 to 10. You can catch us on, like Matt said, Cypress Street Radio. That's on our online streaming radio service, brought to you by AOC. Just click on the play button and you will hear the news. You can also go to our YouTube stage, which is AOC Community Media. And you can also go to our television stations where you will hear the audio portion of the news read to you this morning. We've got a lot of news to cover this morning, so let's get right to it. Complaints pouring in for mask violations in Lafayette by Claire Taylor. More than 25 complaints were registered about Lafayette businesses allowing customers inside without wearing masks, possibly in violation of the governor's mandate that went into effect this past Monday. Data from the State Fire Marshal's office and Lafayette Fire Department shows the complaints started coming in late Monday morning and have continued since. Some people are reporting both customers and employees at businesses are not wearing masks. The complaints were for restaurants, supermarkets, pharmacy, a health club, a post office, and the parish communication district. Red Laurel, owner of Red Laurel's Health and Racquet Club in Lafayette, emailed the plea to members to wear face masks and to continue to maintain membership in the club. He wrote that he fears for the lives of his members and also fears that he allows members to enter without masks, the state will close down its business. Reds was on the list of businesses reported for allowing customers inside without masks. State records show Laurel was contacted about it. The executive order by Governor John Bel Edwards, which went into effect Monday morning, requires anyone entering a public building, including private businesses and government buildings, to wear a covering over their mouth and nose to reduce spread of the coronavirus, which is on the rise in Lafayette Parish. A previous order by Edwards that required employees who have contact with customers to wear masks remains in place as well. Enforcement may be problematic. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry, who tested positive for COVID-19 this week and is in quarantine, issued an opinion on Wednesday that the mask mandate may be unconstitutional and unenforceable. The latest executive order puts a burden of enforcement first on the business. A business is required to prohibit entry by any customer not wearing a mask unless they have a legitimate medical reason for not wearing one. If the business allows customers inside without masks, the businesses can be cited, even closed down. If the business representative asks the customer to leave and the customer refuses, the business can ask police to remove the customer and have them charged with trespassing. We are asking people to address the concern with the business first to allow them the chance to remedy the concern, Ashley Rodriguez, Public Affairs Director with the State Fire Marshal's Office said Wednesday in an email. If the response to the business is unsatisfactory, she said, residents can contact either the Lafayette Fire Department at 337-291-8701 or the State Fire Marshal's Office at 800-256-5452. Complaints filed Monday through Wednesday with the Lafayette Fire Department and State Fire Marshal's Office in Lafayette Parish were Academy Sports, 4232 Ambassador Caffrey. Customers and employees not wearing masks. CVS Pharmacy, 5044 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. Customers not wearing masks contacted. CVS Pharmacy, 3606 West Pinhook Road. Customers not wearing masks were contacted. Burroughs Cajun Market at 510 Barotsky Road. Customers not wearing masks and were contacted. Racetrack, 5100 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. Customers not wearing masks contacted. The racetrack at 2421 West Congress Street. Customers not wearing masks. U.S. Postal Office, 1830 Bertrand Drive. Customers not wearing masks. Walmart Supercenter, 3810 Northeast Evangeline Thruway, Karen Crow. Customers not wearing masks contacted. On Tuesday, the City Club at River Ranch, 1100 Camellia Boulevard. Customers and employees not wearing masks. CVS Pharmacy at 3606 West Pinhook Road. Customers not wearing masks. The Hall at 407 East Glorious Ridge Road, no mask. Harbor Freight, 128 Arnold Boulevard. Customers not wearing masks contacted. Home Depot, 3721 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. Customers not wearing masks contacted. Home Depot at 1700 Northeast Evangeline Thruway. Customers and employees not wearing masks inspected. Case closed. Lafayette Parish Community Communications District, 800 South Buchanan Street. Customers not wearing masks. Sanitation equipment and fluids not used. Contacted. La Pizzeria, 3730 Southeast Evangeline Thruway, Karen Crow. Customers not wearing masks. Contacted. Lowe's, 120 East Glorious Switch Road. Customers and employees not wearing masks. Racetrack, 3200 Louisiana Ave. Customers not wearing masks. Red Laurel's Health and Racket Club, 301 Duche Road. Customers not wearing masks contacted. Surge Entertainment, 2723 West Pinhook Road. Customers not wearing masks contacted. Target, 4313 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. Customers not wearing masks contacted. U.S. Post Office, 1830 Bertrand Drive. Customers not wearing masks contacted. Walgreens, 2700 Johnson Street. Customers not wearing masks. No new complaint. Walgreens, 2820 East Milton Ave in Youngsville. Customers not wearing masks. New complaint. Walmart Supercenter, 3810 Northeast Evangeline Thruway, Karen Crow. Customers not wearing masks. New complaint. On Wednesday, Adrian Supermarket, 3842 West Congress Street, unspecified mask violations. Circle K at 3801 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. Customers and employees not wearing masks. New complaint. City Club at River Ranch, 1100 Camellia Boulevard. Customers and employees not wearing masks contacted. Corner Pantry, 801 Foreman Drive, unspecified mask violations. Dino's Pizza at 305 Bertrand Drive. Customers and employees not wearing masks contacted. The Hit and Run Shell Station, 2200 Calisa Rome. Customers and employees not wearing masks. New complaint. O'Darby's, 827 Hector Connolly Road in Karen Crow. Customers not wearing masks. New complaint. Racetrack, 5100 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. Customers and employees not wearing masks contacted. The Racetrack at 3200 Louisiana Ave. Customers not wearing masks contacted. Royal Panda, 2418 West Pinhook Road, unspecified mask violations. Simcoe Supermarket, 821 Simcoe Street. Customers and employees not wearing masks. T-Rex, 120 Curran Lane. Customers and employees not wearing masks contacted. Walgreens, Louisiana 182 in Karen Crow. Customers not wearing masks. New complaint. and the Walmart at 2428 West Pinhook Road. Customers not wearing masks. New complaint. New complaints have not been addressed yet. Contacted means officials contacted businesses either by phone or in person. In other local news, man injured in police shooting, staff in KATC TV reports. Lafayette police were involved in a shooting Wednesday on the north side of Lafayette. The spokesman for the Lafayette Police Department told KATC TV that police tried to pull over a man wanted on warrants and he fled. They chased him to an address off Point de Mouton Road near St. Bernadette Drive, and he fired at police, the spokesman said. Police returned fire. Witnesses said one person was injured. State police responded to the scene and will lead the investigation. And the rest of the news this morning is all related to the state dealing with this coronavirus. So we'll start off with demand for tests outstripping supply. Shortage limits who can get one, by Emily Woodruff and Brian Stoll. Shortages in coronavirus test supplies and delays in receiving results have made it harder for Louisiana residents to know if they have the virus, a troubling sign for public health officials amid rising infections in the state. In recent days, some Louisiana hospitals have cut back on the number of tests available at community testing sites to preserve supplies. Urgent care clinics in the state have also have limited tests to people who are showing symptoms of the coronavirus in line with recently released guidelines from the Louisiana Department of Health about who should get tested amid a nationwide shortage of the chemicals needed to process the test. And although the number of daily tests performed in Louisiana have never been higher, doctors, hospital leaders, and public officials say it still isn't keeping up with surging demand. 3 weeks ago, testing sites would be open till mid-afternoon, said Julio Figueroa, the chief of infectious diseases at LSU Health New Orleans. And now the last person to be tested has already been identified by the time I've had my second cup of coffee. Louisiana has administered more than 1 million tests, a rate that ranks the state second for testing, according to Governor John Bell Edwards. But doctors said a pileup at commercial labs is resulting in delays that could lead to more infections because people don't know if they have the virus. Dr. Jason Halperin, an infectious disease specialist at Crescent Care, a federally assisted low-cost health clinic in New Orleans, said he has gone from testing 40 patients per day in April and May to 200 patients per day in recent weeks. There's more access to tests, he said, but more people are catching the virus. That's meant long waits for his patients to get results, and a sense that the gains made in recent months tracing the spread of the disease have started to fade. We're pretty much exactly where we were back in March, he said. We have more access to tests, but we have way more transmission. When the first case of the coronavirus was identified in the New Orleans area on March 9th, a nationwide lack of test supplies made it nearly impossible to get a test. People with symptoms of the virus who thought they had been exposed were often turned away if they hadn't traveled internationally or been with someone who had. It took weeks until testing requirements were loosened, but by mid-May, nearly anyone who wanted a test could get one. That was particularly true in the New Orleans area, an early hotspot for the virus, where walk-up testing sites were serving hundreds of people per day. By June, the state health department was reporting about 10,000 tests per day, and the rate of positive test results have fallen into the low single digits, a sign that testing capacity was keeping pace with infection rates. But more recently, U.S. testing supply issues have reemerged, strained by skyrocketing case counts in the South and West as businesses reopened. The surge in infections increased demand in people wanting tests and a lack of reagent, the substance necessary to run the test, has resulted in a backlog. Statewide, the percentage of tests returning positive tests have crept up. Of the 18,431 tests reported to the state on Monday, 9.25% of them were positive for coronavirus. The prior week, the percent positive rate was 7.5%. During phase 1, the average percent positive rate was 4.78%. We were back up to 7 to 10 days turnaround, said Halperin. It was 2 to 3 days in April and May. When results take that long, there's no way to do effective case finding. A quick turnaround time is necessary to stop asymptomatic spreaders, experts say. If you get the test back in 10 days and you haven't done what you were supposed to do, the cat is out of the bag, said Figueroa. You need something responsibly quick to affect transmission downstream. In Jefferson Parish, community testing sites help make it one of the most extensively tested areas in the country. For much of May and June, turnout at the sites really exceeded capacity. Jefferson Parish President Cynthia Lee Shang said she regularly turns to talk radio hosts and others to promote mobile testing sites and drive turnout. But beginning in late June, Lee Shang said demand at those sites, alike in neighboring New Orleans, began to spike. Surging demand at hospitals meant the in-house labs cut in half the number of samples they'd process each day, both the Hilario Center's community testing site, Lee Shang said. At the same time, the turnaround times at commercial labs started ballooning. Now Lee Shang says she worries long waits for results will limit any benefit. It's almost not worth the test if you're not getting results until 2 weeks later, she said. Doctors said the new guidelines from the state are necessary as the number of cases rises and more people without symptoms want tests. We have so many patients who are using up tests, said Catherine O'Neill, the chief medical officer at Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center in Baton Rouge. They want testing to go to work, to go on vacation, to go to camp. It's really hard to tell people no. Our Lady of the Lake has shifted to testing only symptomatic patients, said O'Neill. The hospital stock has dwindled to a 10-day supply, and O'Neill says she's awaiting a delivery she isn't sure will arrive. 2 of the 3 manufacturers for the different type of tests that Lake runs told O'Neill they're having production issues and may not be able to deliver. Ochsner Health, Louisiana's largest healthcare system, limited testing at its urgent care centers. 2 patients with symptoms July 1st. It also limited community testing to 150 per day, down from over 350 per day previously, said Dr. Sandra Kermley, an infectious disease specialist and the director of quality at Ochsner. We plan on increasing that, said Kermley, as supplies become available, but we have to reserve our core supplies. LCMC, which operates 5 hospitals in New Orleans and has partnered with the city to provide testing, has at times limited community testing capacity to 150 per day. Supply becomes based on how much we're using, said Dr. Jeffrey Elder, an emergency medicine physician at University Medical Center. We report back what we're using, he said, and then the supplier attempts to allocate based on need. There are lots of places along the supply chain that can cause a shortage of tests or delay in results, according to Kim Hood, the testing coordinator with the State Health Department. Rolling shortages of reagents, the chemical mixtures used to process tests, have increasingly hit labs and caused periodically ballooning backlogs, Hood said. Limited capacity in the machines that run the tests, meanwhile, slow labs' ability to catch up on the backlogs once the supply of the reagents is delivered. Her department receives supplies from the Federal Department of Health and Human Services and FEMA, the state agency that allocates to the community to plug holes based on demand. As infection rates go up, they have in areas across the state in recent weeks, the community becomes more concerned, resulting in more people seeking tests, even without reason to believe they've been exposed, said Hood. Still, Hood said a negative test should not be used as a way to judge whether to interact with others. If you have had a known exposure, you should isolate and quarantine for 14 days, even if you get a negative test result, said Hood. Okay, let's turn to our first public service announcement for the morning. Dreams Foundation hosts a support group for moms with special needs, open to the public to attend. At the beginning of 2020, the Dreams Foundation of Acadiana launched a new program called the Dreams Teams Mom Support Group. Meetings are held on the third Friday of every month, and the next meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, Friday, July 17th at 6:30 p.m. at Jamming Java, which is located on Garrod School Road in Lafayette. Everyone is required to wear a mask and sit 6 feet apart. The support group is open to moms, siblings, and caregivers of children or adults with special needs who want to connect with other moms to discuss topics that impact daily living related to caring for a loved one with simple to complex medical conditions such as epilepsy, autism, spina bifida, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and more. The Dream Support Group organizers kindly ask that moms attend without their children, spouse, significant other, or caregivers, so they can give all moms attending the opportunity to speak openly about any concerns or questions that they may want to discuss in a comfortable setting away from home. The Mom Support Group is a great avenue for complete strangers to connect over a common bond, raising a child or loved one who has special needs, stated Dreams volunteer Paula Duhan Bernard. We welcome all moms and caregivers who attend our next meeting. RSVPs are recommended but not required. The response to the Mom Support Group has been overwhelming, and we are so fortunate to provide this free service to the community. As a matter of fact, we have received inquiries about starting a support group for dads with special needs children or adults. That program is in the works, and we will make that announcement as details become available, stated Dreams Executive Director Danielle Watkins. For more information about the Dreams Support Group for moms, email dreamsfoundationaca@gmail.com. Okay, and going back into our news. Governor Attorney General at odds over statewide mask mandate face-off. Landry says Edwards' order likely unconstitutional and unenforceable. By Sam Carlin. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry, a Republican who is self-quarantining after testing positive for the coronavirus, released an opinion on Wednesday blasting Governor John Bel Edwards' mask mandate. In a 9-page advisory opinion that he said was prompted by questions by Republican lawmakers and law enforcement, Landry said the 3 main provisions of Edwards' latest order, a mask mandate, closure of bars, and a 50-person gathering limit, are likely unconstitutional and unenforceable. Advisory opinions do not hold the force of law, but are typically written to provide the Attorney General's interpretation of legal issues. For the guidance to be nullified, a judge would have to strike down the order following a lawsuit. Although the mask mandate and the 50-person limit may be good recommendations for personal safety, they may not be enforced with financial or criminal penalties, Landry wrote. Both businesses acting under color of law as mass police and actual police acting as mass police could face liability if individual civil rights are violated due to the proclamation. Edwards' order made Louisiana one of several southern states to mandate masks statewide or in regions. Texas, Mississippi, and Alabama, all Republican-led states experiencing coronavirus surges, have issued some form of mask mandate. Landry's opinion comes a day after Vice President Mike Pence expressed support for Edwards' latest order, which mandated masks and shuttered bars in an effort to get a grip on spiking infections and hospitalizations. Edwards, on his monthly radio show, asked the governor, shot back and suggested Landry return to his position in March when he stood next to Edwards at a news conference and said the governor had the ability to put restrictions in place. It's unfortunate, Edwards said. We know we're doing what's right. We know we're doing what we're authorized to do under the law. I wish the Attorney General would rescind the opinion and get back in line with what he was saying just a couple of months ago. A Stronger Louisiana, a pro-Edwards political group, issued a memo at the same time Landry's opinion was released, noting that Landry requires face masks in his office and that Pence expressed support for Edwards' move. Courts have ruled on several stay-at-home orders, mask mandates, and other restrictions across the U.S., largely upholding the restrictions, though a handful have been blocked. The U.S. Supreme Court rejected a challenge to a California emergency order limiting capacity at churches. Early on the pandemic, however, Landry and Edwards set aside their political beef and stood side by side at a news conference in mid-March. Landry said at the time he supported Edwards' executive order that implemented several restrictions to slow the spread, saying the governor has the authority to do so. The goodwill evaporated over the course of the crisis, and Landry has increasingly taken aim at Edwards' restrictions. Okay, doctors question CEO's use of virus aid. Some fear Franklin Hospital funds will go to Wellness Center by Megan Wyatt. Doctors at Franklin Foundation Hospital are questioning how the hospital is using $9 million in federal and state coronavirus funds, which they fear will go toward the construction of a wellness center instead of toward the hospital's more immediate needs. Dr. Roland DeGator is leading the conversation at the official Access Hospital in St. Mary Parish. He hopes to see a portion of the funds go towards hazard pay for frontline workers, some of whom have also become sick with COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus. I think these people deserve hazard pay, DeGator said. I'm not saying that doctors need hazard pay. It's the frontline workers who are there 12 hours a day taking care of these people who deserve it. I've been saying this for a good while. I'm not going to shut up. Franklin Foundation CEO Stephanie Guidry declined to answer questions about how the federal funds will be used. Guidry scheduled a special meeting for the hospital's Board of Commissioners soon after a reporter reached out to her for this article. On the agenda for Thursday's meeting is a resolution that, if approved, would authorize the CEO to enter into contracts of up to $100,000 on behalf of the board for the Wellness Center. Two other items are up for discussion: a management contract for the Wellness Center and the hospital's hazard pay policy. It will cost about $15 million to $17 million to plan, construct, and furnish the new Wellness Center. Louisiana Senator R.L. Brett Elaine II, who also serves as vice chairman of Franklin Foundation's Board of Commissioners, said no COVID-19 relief funds will go toward the Wellness Center. Elaine said he has spent 6 of his 8 years as a senator working to secure money for the project, which will include a gym, pool, behavioral health, and rehabilitation centers, orthopedic group, and medical officers. I've worked too long and hard to build this, Elaine said. This is something that I think will improve my community, and I'll do everything I can to make sure it's built. All right. Let's move on to another public service announcement. We're coming to the portion of our news broadcast where we'll jump into the day in history and the Zodiac and the funerals in the Acadiana area for today. But first, Camp Unique Dreams Foundation. Every summer, the Dreams Foundation of Acadiana hosts the greatest camp of all, Camp Unique. Camp Unique is suited for individuals with special needs. Camp Unique is being held this week, 13th through the 17th, for ages 5 through 13, and next week, July 20th through the 24th, for ages 14 and up. Individual fees will be $75 each, and the theme this year is Peace and Love. All Camp Unique sessions will be held at Locks Acadian Village. Individuals of all ages have a blast participating at a camp that is specifically tailored to them. They get the opportunity to take part in activities such as art, fitness, karaoke, music, and dance, as well as getting a Camp Unique t-shirt and a snack every day. A highlight of Camp Unique this year will be the storytelling session by Chief Greyhawk Perkins, Common Dreams Foundation Executive Director Danielle Watkins. As a recognized expert on Native American and American colonial history, Perkins has inspired many audiences over the years, sharing tales of ancient cultures as a travel storyteller, and as a teacher of various subjects in Louisiana's school system. The registration form for Camp Unique can be found on the Dreams Foundation of Acadiana website at dreamsfoundationaca.org. Volunteers are also being sought at this time. If you're interested in volunteering, please complete the application on the Dreams website under the Volunteer tab. For more information about Camp Unique, you can contact Danielle Watkins via email at Danielle, that's D as in daughter, ONIELLE, at dreamsfoundationaca.org, or you can call her at 337-962-1609. That's 337-962-1609. AOC teams up with the United Way of Acadiana for Learn United. The United Way of Acadiana has teamed up with AOC and other local educational groups for Learn United, bridging the digital gap to provide educational resources for households that don't have internet but do have a television. The Learn United programs airs weekdays from 8 to 2 on AOC 2, Cox 16, and LUS 4, and streaming at aocinc.org/watch. For the daily schedules and to submit content for the program, visit the United Way of Acadiana website at unitedwayofacadiana.org/learn-united. Okay, getting back into our news, we're going to go to the day in history and our zodiac or horoscope and the funerals in the Acadiana area for today. Today in history, today is Thursday, July 16th, the 198th day of 2020. There are 168 days left in the year. 168 potential shopping days left in the year, as I always say. Today's highlight in history: on July 16th, 1945, the United States exploded its first experimental atomic bomb in the desert of Alamogordo, New Mexico. The same day, the heavy cruiser USS Indianapolis left Mare Island Naval Shipyard in California on a secret mission to deliver atomic bomb components to Tinian Island in the Marianas. On this date in 1790, a site along the Potomac River was designated the permanent seat of the United States government. The area became Washington, D.C. In 1862, Flag Officer David J. Farragut became the first Rear Admiral in the U.S. Navy. In 1964, as he accepted the Republican presidential nomination in San Francisco, Barry M. Goldwater declared that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice, and that moderation is the pursuit of justice is no virtue. 1969, Apollo 11 blasted off from Cape Kennedy on the first manned mission to the surface of the moon. In 1973, during the Senate Watergate hearings, former White House aide Alexander P. Butterfield publicly revealed the existence of President Richard M. Nixon's secret taping system. In 1994, the first of 21 pieces of comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 smashed into Jupiter to the joy of astronomers awaiting the celestial fireworks. In 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr., his wife Carolyn, and her sister Lauren Bissett died when their single-engine plane, piloted by Kennedy, plunged into the Atlantic Ocean near Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. In 2002, the Irish Republican Army issued an unprecedented apology for the deaths of non-combatants over 30 years of violence in Northern Ireland. In 2004, Martha Stewart was sentenced to 5 months in prison and 5 months of home confinement by a federal judge in New York City for lying about a stock sale. 10 years ago, retired intelligence analyst Kendall Myers, the 73-year-old great-grandson of Alexander Graham Bell, was sentenced to life in prison without parole for quietly spying for Cuba for nearly a third of a century from inside the State Department. His wife, Gwendolyn, was sentenced to 5.5 years. 5 years ago, a gunman unleashed a barrage of fire at a recruiting center and another U.S. military site a few miles apart in Chattanooga, Tennessee, killing 4 Marines and a sailor before he was shot to death by police. Authorities identified the gunman as Kuwait-born Mohammed Yusuf Abdelaziz of Tennessee. 1 year ago, the House voted to condemn what it called racist comments by President Donald Trump aimed at 4 congresswomen of color, despite Trump's insistence that he didn't have a racist bone in my body. After years of silence on the case, federal prosecutors said they would not be bringing charges against a white New York City police officer for the 2014 chokehold death of a black man, Eric Garner. A federal judge ordered singer R. Kelly to be held without bond after a prosecutor warned that the singer accused of having sex with minors would pose an extreme danger to young girls if he were to be set free. Looking at today's birthday, soul singer William Bell is 81, actor-singer Ruben Blades is 72, rock musician composer Stuart Copeland from The Police is 68, playwright Tony Kushner from our home state of Louisiana and Lake Charles, 64, actress Phoebe Gates is 57, actor, comedian Will Ferrell is 53 today. College and Pro Football Hall of Famer Barry Sanders is 52. Actor Corey Feldman is 49. And actress Anna Lynn McCord is 33. Looking at the zodiac or horoscope for today, if you're a Cancer, check out what others are doing to find inspiration for your next move. An unusual offer will entice you. Make sure it's what you want before you commit. Leo, participate in self-help programs and work on personal growth, enlightenment, and compatibility with a loved one. Make health, fitness, and peace of mind priorities. Romance is in the stars. Virgo, if someone will let you down, don't rely on others to handle your responsibilities or stand up on your belief. The shortest route to success is to do the work yourself. Libra, channel your energy into something useful. Getting involved in an argument that won't help you get ahead. Make personal improvements, educational pursuits, and physical fitness your priorities. Scorpio, new methods and innovative technology will make your job easier and encourage you to branch out in diverse directions, mostly conditions and circumstances in your favor. Sagittarius, a commitment will have an emotional impact on your life. Be prepared to compromise and to fulfill your promises. Be honest with yourself as well as a partner or a loved one. Capricorns, you'll accomplish the most if you don't rely on others. An opportunity will change your life, give you the momentum to tidy up loose ends and move on quickly. Aquarius, handle emotional situations with compassion and understanding. Pour your heart and soul into your home, family, and personal growth. Share your feelings and do something beautiful for a loved one. Pisces, emotional discord will disrupt your domestic scene if you neglect responsibilities and promises. You can't buy love, so don't spend money to impress others. Joint ventures will face setbacks. Aries, be astute, learn as you go, and take nothing for granted. Put your energy and time where they count and be willing to do the grunt work required to get what you want. Taurus, a deal that promises riches, beauty, or popularity will tempt you. If it sounds too good to be true, do your research and interrogate your motives before you take a chance. And finally, Geminis. Exaggeration will not be well received. Stick to the facts, show compassion, and take the high road when faced with opposition. Being at odds with the majority will leave you dangling. As always, the horoscope is an entertainment feature not based on scientific fact. The funerals I'm getting on the area today. Nugent Guidry, St. John the Baptist Catholic Church at 10 a.m. Gloria Henry, Fountain Memorial Funeral Home in Lafayette at 1 p.m. And Lily Touche, Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church in Erath at 1 p.m. Okay, and let's see, getting back into the news. Safety effort to tackle risky roads. State to put $5 million into program by Ken Stickney. An unrelated coronavirus article. There's just too many of them this morning. Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development will put some $5 million into an effort to enhance safety on 400 miles of Acadiana roadway next year. Ashley Moran, a planner for the Acadiana Planning Commission, said the program will include several steps to avoid roadway departure wrecks, generally defined as occurring when a single vehicle leaves the roadway and crashes into a fixed object such as a tree or culvert. That is the profile of a lot of our crashes, Moran said. Oftentimes those crashes occur on rural roads at night and involve impaired or distracted driving, in which the driver may be under the influence of drugs or alcohol or using a cell phone. The result, the vehicle leaves the road and the crash imperils the driver. That's happened some 10,000 times over the past 3 years in 8 parishes served by the Commission, which includes Evangeline, St. Landry, Acadia, Lafayette, St. Martin, Vermilion, Iberia, and St. Mary. Roadway departure was involved in more than half of wrecks in Acadiana between 2015 and 2019. Such roadway departure wrecks in Acadiana resulted in 61 deaths in 2017 and 63 in 2018 and 51 in 2019, Moran said. She said the Commission worked with Department of Traffic Defense to secure additional, or DOTD, to secure additional federal funds for rumble strips. She said it might take a year to implement the program, but the result, giving drivers a warning before they crash, might save lives. That's the biggest engineering thing we can do to make roads safer, Moran said. It's the only engineering thing we can do for distracted driving. When they hit those bumps, people come awake. Visa exception granted for foreign language teachers. Educators cleared for travel to state by Ken Stickney. Visas for more than 70 foreign language teachers, including 16 who were scheduled to teach in Acadiana in 2021, will be processed, clearing the teachers for travel to the United States. Louisiana agencies involved in their recruitment said. Matt Mick, spokesman for the Council for the Development of French in Louisiana, said Wednesday that the U.S. Bureau of Consular Affairs said it would begin processing the J-1 visas for the international associate teachers, most of whom have been recruited from France, Belgium, and Canada. A June proclamation from President Donald Trump had restricted visas for foreign workers in an effort to curb American job losses caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Mick said as many as 73 leaders, most of whom would teach in language immersion programs in Louisiana public schools, were temporarily affected. About 2,000 Louisiana students, most in kindergarten through 8th grade, would have been affected. Codeville oversees the employment of about 175 of the teachers, most of them in immersion instruction. Teachers usually hold 3-year visas. The 73 teachers who were affected were first-year teachers. Codeville is a state agency in the Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism under the Lieutenant Governor's office. Mick said the delay in processing the visas may have affected some travel plans for the teachers, but so has the pandemic, which has played havoc with scheduling the public school year in Louisiana. We do not know yet about the schools will open or when, Mick said. We are following developments as the schools are following developments. The effect of barring the teachers would have been profound in Evangeline Parish, which started immersion education at Mamou and Ville Platte in 2017. All the teachers at Mamou whose 3-year visas had elapsed were to be replaced. Man injured, okay, we already did that story, folks. Sorry about that. Louisiana tax day runs into some technical issues. System overloaded as frontline workers also applied for $250 checks by Mike Ballard and Kyle Whitfield. Louisiana Department of Revenue Secretary Kimberly Robertson woke up Wednesday morning and saw that about 14,000 workers on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic had applied for a $250 check during the dark hours of the first morning of the application period. It was great until about 7:20 a.m. and I heard my phone ding, they said. We're having a problem. Robertson called during an interview Wednesday afternoon. Some of the everyday people who worked during the stay-at-home order aimed at stemming the coronavirus pandemic were able to get through. Others were not, and still others were unable to complete their applications. In addition to being the first day to apply for the $250 from the Frontline Worker COVID-19 Hazard Pay Rebate Program, Wednesday also was tax day when state income tax returns were due. The deadline to file state income tax originally had been in April and May, but was postponed because of the fast spread of COVID-19. Both the rebate program applications and the income tax returns use the same computer platform. The third-party contractor and the State Office of Technology Services added extra bandwidth and 3 servers to handle the expected influx. Workers from bus drivers to garbage collectors to grocery store clerks, people who stayed on the job during the coronavirus pandemic while the rest of the state stayed home can apply at frontlineworkers at la.gov. Applications can be mailed or downloaded in printable form or are available by calling 855-307-3893. That's 855-307-3893. Edward signs businesses tax breaks by Melinda Deslade, Associated Press. Though he had worried about the drain on Louisiana's treasury, Governor John Bel Edwards has signed into law the full multi-million-dollar package of business tax breaks that lawmakers passed in their June special session as a coronavirus recovery effort. The Democratic governor agreed to temporarily suspend part of the corporate franchise tax for 1 year, to give a sizable tax break to the state's casinos, and to expand tax credit programs that lawmakers previously curbed as giveaway programs that didn't benefit the state. He signed measures that will extend Louisiana's expiring historic tax credit program, allowing businesses required to collect and remit sales taxes to keep a larger portion of those tax collections for themselves, renew an expiring tax credit program for research and development expenses, and restart an expired program that provides state tax credits for investments in low-income communities. Edwards hadn't announced the bill signings by Wednesday or released any information about his decision, but the bill signings were posted to the legislature's website, showing the governor had agreed to enact nearly a dozen bills to expand and extend business tax credits, exemptions, and incentive programs. The full package of bills, with extensions included, is estimated to cost about $25 million in the current budget year and at least $230 million in lost tax collections over 5 years, according to the bill analysis. But the estimates suggested uncertainty about the full impact, saying the measures could cost even more in later years. Republicans said the state will bring in tax dollars by stimulating the economy with tax breaks, describing the cost estimates are skewed. Big name Cassidy challenger sought by Tyler Bridges. With control of the U.S. Senate in play, high-profile Democrats are challenging Republican incumbents running for re-election in state after state this year, but not in Louisiana, at least not so far anyways. Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican from Baton Rouge, is facing 4 little-known Democrats, but the contest would change as Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins jumps into the race when qualifying begins next week. I've been approached by a lot of people from all over the state asking me to step up, Perkins said in a text Wednesday. In this moment of overlapping crisis, there is a lot to consider. Ultimately, I want to do what's best for the city of Shreveport. Until now, Cassidy had been breezing to re-election in a state that has become even more Republican since 2014, when he trounced U.S. Senator Mary Landrieu, who is seeking a 4th term by 56% to 44% margin. This year's race has received little attention. Cassidy has yet to begin his television advertising campaign, but that will begin to change when qualifying on July 22nd to the 24th. It's rated as a safe Republican seat by Sabato's Christian Ball, a political blog based at the University of Virginia. Trump won Louisiana by 20 points over Hillary Clinton in 2016, Cassidy has been a reliable supporter of Trump, voting with him 92% of the time, according to the data website 538. Cassidy, who worked as a gastroenterologist before becoming a senator, has not criticized Trump's bombastic comments, controversial moves, or outright lies. A survey in September by pollster Bernie Pesonnet showed that 59% of voters rated Cassidy as doing an excellent or good job versus 33% who said not good or poor. Cassidy declined to be interviewed for this article. Okay. Another way to look at LA's coronavirus trends, we talked a lot about the coronavirus this morning, folks, so let's move on to something else. LA Supreme Court cancels bar exam. Some law school graduates push for licenses based on diploma by Andrea Gallo. Louisiana Supreme Court announced Wednesday that the state's July 27th bar examination has been canceled amid climbing coronavirus cases, setting off frustration among recent law school graduates whose careers are in limbo and leading to some calls for the state to greenlight licenses for those with diplomas without the formality of the exam. Over the last couple of months, the High Court has tinkered with the structure of the state bar's exam during coronavirus closures and reopenings, initially cutting down the July 27th exam from 3 days to 1 and limiting its scope. A month ago, test takers were also given the option to shift their exam to being online rather than be in person. Unfortunately, the rate of infection has increased substantially with each of the test sites chosen being in areas which have seen some of the highest rates of infection, the news release reads. The announcement left recent law school graduates and other test takers reeling, with many lamenting the short notice and the uncertainty it brings. Studying for the bar has been especially grueling for Whiten Yates, another recent Loyola graduate, as he tries to juggle studying with being a father and a husband and being unable to leave the house much during quarantine. He said recent law graduates have been dealt one blow after another, classes being canceled, graduation being canceled, and now the future is up in the air. He was looking forward to having two incomes in the household again, but he doesn't know what's next for him anymore, aside from indulging in wine and Netflix after previously swearing them off to focus on studying for the bar. The Louisiana Supreme Court has basically put a hold on our lives and our careers indefinitely, he said. The shock of them just saying it's canceled and not giving us any information or remedy beyond that, it feels as though the Supreme Court is disconnected from the experience that students go through as they get ready for the bar. Turning to the next story. Truck stop isn't showing wild animals anymore. Businesses gain notoriety through tiger suits and camelback, by Yusef Radad. A gross tech truck stop that drew national curiosity last year after a Florida woman bit a camel's testicles when it sat on her no longer will display its menagerie of exotic animals. Now the business has changed hands. For nearly 2 decades, the animals at the Tiger truck stop has been its mainstay, drawing visitors to the roadside attraction along Interstate 10 by featuring a collection of quirky animals, including for a time a 550-pound Bengal tiger named Tony. More recently, the main draw was a camel called Casper. The petting zoo area that housed other animals, including a kangaroo, goats, and Central American raccoon relative called a coati, has been removed after the truck stop's now former owner Michael Sandlin sold the business when he retired in June. After euthanizing the 17-year-old tiger because of his age-related health issues in 2017, Sandlin said he became less involved with the business. When Tony passed and there was no longer a tiger living in Gross Tech, I pretty much partially retired then, he said. My heart wasn't in it. Some of the critters, including the coati, ducks, and chickens, have been staying at Sandlin's home near the truck stop since they were moved. The camel and the kangaroo were taken to the Alexandria Zoological Park. Camel gave the rest stop a boost in attention last fall when a flower couple entered the animal's pen to retrieve their deaf dog, which had scurried under a fence and into the enclosure. The 600-pound camel startled amid the commotion, knocked the woman down, and sat on her. She said she had to bite one of the camel's testicles to get him to move. Okay, moving on. Judge keeps Benson competency case sealed by Ramon Antonio Vargas. Court records from the 2015 mental competency trial of late Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson will remain hidden from public view. An Orleans Parish judge ruled Wednesday in response to a push by national media outlets to have the documents and transcripts unsealed. In a victory for the Benson estate, Orleans Parish Civil District Court Judge Curran Reese said practically the entire case, which pitted Benson against three estranged relatives, turned on medical information to which the public is not entitled. The sole issue was whether Mr. Benson had the ability to handle his own affairs, Reese said. I don't think we have the right as a society to go picking through his medical history to see what might be newsworthy. I think that demeans the respect a human being is entitled to. And representing the Associated Press, CNN, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post, attorney Dan Zimmerman argued that sealed testimony about certain acts by Benson during the family rift that dominated some of his final years would not involve any protected medical information. Benson's lawyers years ago successfully pushed for Reese to keep the proceedings in question shielded from public view for medical privacy reasons over the objections of the relatives with whom he was bickering. Zimmerman and his co-counsel, Mary Ellen Roy, also argued that the public has a right to the information because both the Saints and Pelicans had previously received millions of dollars worth of taxpayer support in the form of cash payments, tax breaks, and inflated rental payments as a part of a deal tying the football team to the Superdome through 2025. Zimmerman added that the Saints additionally attracted heightened interest in their operations after a Catholic clergy abuse lawsuit revealed that club executives consulted the Archdiocese of New Orleans on media relations as the church sought to manage its long simmering clergy molestation scandal. Okay, and moving on. Our last story of the morning. We're already at sort of past a few minutes where our audio on the TV stations have ended for the broadcast, but we will continue giving you the news as written here by the Acadiana Advocate on our YouTube station at AOC Community Media and our Cypress Street Radio streaming online station, that's Cypress Street Radio. The social media post investigated a New Orleans fatal shooting, a boy 9 years old, by Ramon Antonio Vargas. New Orleans police investigating a triple shooting that killed a 9-year-old boy and wounded 2 teenagers in the 7th Ward this week are scrutinizing social media posts from a user alleging that her brother was the gunman, a law enforcement source said on Wednesday. Police have not announced any arrest of named suspects in the shooting that claimed the life of Devontae Bryant while wounding an older boy and a girl, and the source didn't specify the content of the Instagram post in question. But one local Instagram account drew attention Tuesday with a post of a still image of a video showing the moments before Devontae was shot dead. The post included a hand-drawn arrow pointing at the shooter under the words, "That is my brother." A second message from the account addressed to another user read, "I'm sorry my brother shot yours. Sis, I am sorry." And a third message provided a handle for the alleged shooter. The Advocate is not identifying any handles mentioned in the series of messages while police investigate their authenticity. The messages prompted a denial from yet another account, apparently belonging to a boy, which tagged the handle of the accused and wrote, "My brother didn't kill nobody. We don't even play with guns over here." But the law enforcement sources said detectives were taking the messages seriously investigating who wrote them and why. The messages came out a day after Devontae was shot to death in the 2100 block of Pager Street. A private video obtained by the newspaper shows the killer sulk up North Valeria Street, churn on Pager Street, and fire a handgun at Devontae and 4 others sitting on the stoop of the boys' home. Devontae died instantly after being struck in the head, according to the video. The newspaper did not post the video, but did publish a still image from it. A candlelight memorial for Devontae grew a crowd of dozens to Pager Street on Tuesday, with mourners praying, releasing balloons, and dancing to a brass band. Family supporters on Wednesday plan to march from the spot where Devontae was killed to nearby Huntersfield Playground, while calling for an end to bloodshed. Well, folks, that's about it for this morning. Let me read a couple more PSAs that I think are very important at this time because of this pandemic continuing as it is, and all the misinformation out there about wearing masks and not wearing masks and so forth. If you're feeling overwhelmed with stress and fear and anxiety about the uncertainty surrounding the public health emergency, there is a special Keeping Calm Through COVID hotline you can call. This connects you to trained compassionate counselors who can offer support and can direct you to mental health and substance abuse counseling services. Trained counselors are available 24/7, and all calls are confidential. So if you feel that you need this type of assistance, please call 866-310-7977. That's 866-310-7977. Locally, you can stop the spread, call instead, hashtag stop the spread. You can call 311 for the latest COVID-19 updates and information. Call centers with volunteers and medical professionals are active 24/7 to answer your questions about COVID-19 and to determine if you need to get screened. You may also call 311, press option 2 if you're a business owner, employee, or are looking for a job to get information about applying for small business recovery loans, apply for unemployment benefits, and related programs. And that about wraps up the news for this morning. We deliver the news to you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. At our TV stations and also on our YouTube station, AOC Community Media, and our online streaming service, Cypress Street Radio. We are happy to bring you the news every morning as we partner with the Acadiana Advocate with their expert journalism, giving you all the news in our local area and throughout the state that you need to know about. The service is brought specifically to the community of the visually impaired, but also to individuals in our community who don't have access to a newspaper or the local news cycle. We're more than happy to bring you this great service. If you're at all interested, you can go to aocinc.org. You can look up the volunteer forms and fill out a form so you can become a newspaper reading volunteer like myself, which I am doing from my home studio. We can set you up. It's really not an issue at all because we have an incredible engineer, Matt Roberts, helping me out every morning that I do the news. Great guy and a great engineer. So he'll provide you with all the necessary steps to be able to do this. It's a great service, so I hope that you join us. As always, as I say every morning, this is Bruce Cohen, has always been Bruce Cohen, and will be Bruce Cohen for the future. And I'm also been saying recently, please be safe, healthy, and smart, folks. Please be smart. When you go outside and you know you're going to be either in a public or an enclosed area with a lot of other people, please wear your mask. Please wash your hands. Please sanitize. Just take those simple efforts. We can stop the spread. We can get through this together. I know this has been belted at you and shouted at you for the last almost 4 months now. But folks, we need to get through this together. So please adhere to the protocols and just wear your mask. So again, I wish you a very good morning, Please be kind to each other and have a great day.